Montesquieu, French Enlightenment thinker and jurist. On January 18, 1689, Montesquieu was born in L'Ablet, Bordeaux, France. When he was 7 years old, his mother died. When he was 24 years old, his father died, and he inherited the title of baronet. Montesquieu entered a public school at the age of 11, received a bachelor's degree in law at the age of 19, and obtained a master's degree in the same year, working as a high court lawyer. His representative works are The Spirit of the Law, Persian Letters, and The Causes of the Rise and Fall of Rome. He proposed that everyone is equal before the law, which has become the basic premise of modern law. The law is enforced by the coercive power of the state, which means that any behavior that violates the law must be punished accordingly. In real society, it is difficult for ordinary people to have the power to fight against the law, so the implementation of the law will be relatively smooth. But if the law is unequal, it will inevitably grant certain people or classes rights beyond the law. Then, when the privileged owners or privileged classes violate the law, they will have the power to resist the law. Ultimately, it will cause social inequality, and the law will exist in name only. Montesquieu's thoughts and theories played a great role in promoting the transformation of human society from traditional civilization to modern civilization, and are still shining brightly today. He is also the author of the famous political science and legal work, The Spirit of the Laws, which together with Voltaire's Philosophical Correspondence and Rousseau's The Social Contract are collectively known as the three books of the Enlightenment. Together with Voltaire and Rousseau, he is known as the three swordsmen of the French Enlightenment. The 10 evils of human society, summarized by Montesquieu, can be said to be enlightening and thought-provoking, and can also be said to hit many problems with a single blow. 1. Politics without humanity. 2. Worship without thoughts. 3. Unchecked power. 4. Lack of independent spirit. 5. Knowledge without conscience. 6. Science without humanities. 7. There is no real history. 8. Business without ethics. 9. Happiness without freedom. 10. There is no wealth without labor. These 10 evils are closely related to each other, complement each other, promote each other, and form a cycle of cause and effect. Montesquieu said that nothing in the world is black and white. Indeed, the world of adults is not black and white, and there is no right or wrong. Many things should be considered not only from two sides, but also from multiple dimensions. Who can explain the deep meaning of this? Let's understand the deep meaning of this today. What dominates and rules everything in a monarchy is the power of law. And in an autocratic government, it is the iron fist of the monarch that is always held high. However, in a people's country, there must also be a driving force, and that is virtue. It is not the new generation that becomes corrupt. It is only after the older ones have become corrupt that they become corrupt. Politeness brings joy to polite people, and also to people who are treated politely. The greatest happiness is like reading, and the most important thing is teaching children. If I read as much as others, I know as little as others. Let us make dishonor the most severe part of the punishment. The true measure of a man's character is what he does when he knows no one will notice. If you follow with, you end up catching folly. Freedom is not unlimited freedom. Freedom is the power to do anything permitted by law. We live only to discover beauty. Everything else is forms of waiting. Reading is the best way for me to get rid of the unpleasantness in life. There is no kind of distress that reading cannot dispel. Politics is a dull file. It sharpens and sharpens until it slowly achieves its purpose. The misfortune of a republic is when it has no more secrets of conspiracy. This happens when people corrupt the people with money. Then the people become cool and are more interested in money than in state affairs. Although I have certain strengths, the one I value most is my humility. Liberty is the right to do everything permitted by law. What people grieve is not the death of human beings, but their birth. If you like reading, it means you can replace the lonely moments in your life with moments of great enjoyment. Luxury always follows fornication, and fornication always follows luxury. How many virtues and vices are trivial? Being able to entrust one's life in the memory of others, life seems to be lengthened. Glory is the new life we gain, which is precious and is no less than the life given by nature. Since nature creates different degrees of strength and weakness in the human world, it often uses desperate struggles to make the weak no less powerful than the strong. The true measure of a man's character is what he does when he knows no one will notice. I will not do things that are good for me but harmful to my family. I will not do things that are good for my family but harmful to the country. The moral character should be noble, the behavior should be frank, and the behavior should be polite. A happy person is one who knows how to love himself, never boasts, is in awe of the listener, and neither demeans himself nor hurts the self-esteem of others. The right to divorce is actually more conducive to interdependence than any means. Both husband and wife work hard to support the family, although they both know that they can make their own decisions to end it all. The reason why they hold on to this right throughout their lives and do not use it is precisely because they know they can use this right. Equality of rights among citizens generally leads to equality of wealth and brings abundance and vitality to every part of the body politic. Evil thoughts never attack openly. They always find ways to attack suddenly, wearing masks and often even cloaked in morality. Enlightenment of the people is not irrelevant. The prejudices of officials begin with the prejudices of the nation. In the age of ignorance, you can do all kinds of bad things without any fear. In the enlightened era, even doing great good deeds is still done with trepidation. We observe the parts only in order to judge the whole. We examine all causes in order to see all results. In a republic, everyone is equal. In a despotism, everyone is equal. In a republic, everyone is equal because people are everything. In a despotism, everyone is equal because people are worth nothing. Chinese legislators regard peace in the world as the main goal of governing the country. In their view, obedience is an effective means to maintain peace in the world. People who have a little advantage are always greedy for power, and the reason why they want to monopolize everything is precisely because they have too much. The most brutal form of tyranny is to govern under the cloak of justice, under the cover of the law. The ancient Romans allowed all kinds of faiths to exist, and the empire became powerful. Later, they banned all sects that were not dominant, and the empire became not worth mentioning. It is a mistake to think that there is a human power that can arbitrarily change anything in the world. There has never been such a human power, and there will never be one in the future. Even the greatest power has its limits. When the great Lord imposed new taxes in Constantine, the public excitement made him discover the limits that he had not seen before. If the knot cannot be untied, just cut it off. Nothing in the world is black and white. In a country with good institutions, bad behavior always contains some element of public virtue. The virtue seen in a corrupt republic often contains some element of corruption. An injustice to one is a threat to all. All people are born equal, and there is no distinction between high and low. We have no right to boss others around under the pretext of what we have been given, nor do we have any reason to complain about our fate. When you are above others, you should treat others as human beings. When you are below others, you should treat yourself as a human being. I never knew any trouble which could not be relieved by an hour's reading. Morality should be noble. Conduct should be frank. Behavior should be polite. Beauty must be clean and pure, both in appearance and in the heart. If you just want to be happy, it's not difficult at all. The difficulty is that we always expect to be happier than others. An intelligent person generally finds it difficult to get along with others, and he has very few choices of people. When we talk to others, we must pay special attention, because this is when others evaluate us. Since nature creates different degrees of strength and weakness in the human world, it often uses desperate struggles to make the weak no less powerful than the strong. People at the two extremes of happiness, those who are extremely happy and those who are extremely unhappy, tend to be cruel. People in the middle of happiness tend to be gentle and compassionate. It is in suffering that people become more like a human being. It is a timeless experience that all people with power are prone to abuse their power. The way to prevent the abuse of power is to use power to restrain power. In a country where the people have no right to participate in government affairs, the people become cold-blooded animals. They are obsessed with money and no longer enthusiastic about state affairs. The people will only be crazy about a certain actor. They do not share the government's worries, nor do they care about what the government plans, but just wait leisurely to receive their salaries. If the rich do not live in luxury, the poor will starve to death. The glory of the privileges of the great is the disgrace of the common people. We speak in the presence of men who are as vain as ourselves and whose vanity is tortured to the same degree as our vanity is gratified. Human beings have a strong sense of hope and fear. A religion without hell and heaven will not please human beings. If the judicial power becomes one with the political power, the judges will have the power of the oppressor. Noble people do not do business. The people who do business are not noble. Freedom does not mean that people can do whatever they want. Freedom simply means the right to do everything within the limits of the law. In a country where there must be status differences, there must be privileges. The tyranny of the powerful in a dictatorship is not as dangerous to the well-being of the people as the indifference of the people in a democracy. In both a republic and an autocracy, everyone is equal. However, the equality of the two is different. In a republic, everyone is equal because everyone is a master. In an autocracy, everyone is equal because everyone is a slave. It is a characteristic of human life that powerful people tend to invade those without power. The law was enacted to punish the evil and perversity of human beings, so the law itself must be the purest and most innocent. The political liberty of a citizen is a state of peace of mind, which arises from the opinion that every man is secure in himself. To enjoy this liberty, it is necessary to establish a government under which one citizen has no fear of another citizen. It is more difficult to liberate a nation accustomed to being enslaved than to enslave a nation accustomed to freedom. The law is always just under ordinary circumstances, but almost always unjust when applied in practice. If a triangle has a god, that god must have three sides. Truly wise people sense things that others merely know. The law was enacted to punish human beings for their evil and perversity, so the law itself must be the purest and most innocent. The revenue of the state is that part of his property which every citizen pays to ensure the safety of his remaining property or to enjoy it with pleasure. Power should be used to limit power. Justice to others is charity to oneself. Law, insofar as it governs all peoples on earth, is human reason. The true spirit of equality does not mean that everyone is in command, or that no one is under command, but that we obey or command those who are equal to us. The safety of the people is the highest law. To prevent the abuse of power, power must be restrained by power. The principle of despotism is terror. There are four good habits: being on time, being correct, being persistent, and being quick. Without the first, time will be wasted. Without the second, mistakes will be made. Without the third, things will never be done well. Without the fourth, good opportunities will be missed. Good-natured ridicule is a way of speaking that is harmful to people's good nature and beneficial to their intelligence. All rights without restraint will inevitably lead to corruption. Montesquieu's famous saying about the separation of powers is, from the nature of things, to prevent the misuse of power, power must be restrained by power. Liberty is the right to do anything not prohibited by law. Human rights are more important than state power because human rights are the only reason for the creation of state power. Political power comes from the agreement of the people, not from God. Laws are created by the people, and the country must abide by the constraints of the law. The purpose of government should be to safeguard the freedom and happiness of the people, not to satisfy the selfish interests of the rulers. Power must be scrutinized and checked to prevent abuse and tyranny. A true politician serves the interests of the people rather than pursuing personal power and status. People's discontent and inequality are the seeds of tyranny and should be taken seriously and addressed. Wisdom and knowledge are the key to governing a country, and the government should listen to the advice and opinions of experts. I really don't agree with this statement. Maybe there were no so-called pig-like experts at that time. All those who hold power have a tendency to abuse it for their own personal gain. The goal of education in any authoritarian country is to lower the intelligence of its citizens.